Hey everybody, welcome back to the second installment of Retros of the Past. Today I have a very special pair for you guys. I have the 2006 Air Jordan 4 Retro Lifestyle in the Tour Yellow colorway, also known as the Rare Airs. Today I'm going to get into the history of that shoe, how I personally acquired them, and what I like about them. So these came out alongside the Thunder at Lightning pack, although they weren't a part of that pack. They came out on the same day, August 23rd, 2006. All three shoes share the same color code of black and Tour Yellow. But I gotta be honest, these are probably like the least desirable, if you will, as far as like collecting goes. But they're probably my favorite as far as like look-wise. I've had all three, I've loved all three, and these are the only ones remaining. So I guess that says something about those shoes. I've had these since 2020. I acquired these off of a Facebook group that I'm a part of. I got these, I don't remember how much I paid, but I definitely paid less than $2. Although they didn't come with the OG box or the OG retro card. One super important thing for me was that they came with the Velcro on the tongue, which I'll get into in just a second. So retail on these was $145 if I'm not mistaken. It was just like a regular lifestyle release, which if you don't know, retro plus or lifestyle basically meant that the shoe wasn't exactly meant for performance, and it also came with apparel most of the time. And fun fact, if you look at if you watch Jumpman Bostic's video on these from like 10 years ago, you can see that he's wearing the polo that I'm pretty sure went along with that exact shoe, the Tour Yellows. So pretty interesting. Unfortunately, that line didn't last very long because apparently from what I read online, I mean, I wasn't around in 2006. I wasn't into sneakers. I was only 5 years old. But from what I've read, the clothing didn't exactly do well back then. It always sat on the shelves and everything, so they kind of pulled that. But for a short while, they had those lifestyle releases for Jordans. And 2006 was a really good year for the 4. They had a lot of nice colorways. The 5 also, probably some of the best non-OG colorway runs that there ever was, in my humble opinion. And without further ado, I am gonna go ahead and show you the shoes. So like I said, these retail for $145. The Lightnings retailed for $250 if I'm not mistaken. They came with a polo shirt, and the Lightnings were the most expensive and rare of the pack. They came with a varsity jacket, and they retailed for $500. So like I said, probably the least desirable of the pack in terms of like rarity or like collectability, but they're still my favorite to this day. As you can see, my pair, honestly, if I do say so myself, they're pretty darn clean. Pretty much the only downside about my pair is that they're separating. The glue is shot on the medial side, which I'll show you in just a second, but that's just an overall view of the shoe. You can see the laces, they're super crispy. That's because they're not the original laces. I had to change those out because the ends were all like frayed and you could barely lace them. And here's what I was talking about, the patch. One super cool thing about these is that they're the only ones to have that, along with the Undefeateds from 2005. They're the only ones to have that removable patch that says Jordan Rare Air, which is really cool when you think about it, because the Air Jordan 4 Undefeated is a grail of grails. It's a shoe that for the longest time was about like 25 grand, like 30 grand. I don't know what's the market on them right now. I know they retroed them, probably not as much, but just a little fun fact for you guys. I wear my shoes with the patch because if you leave the patch like this, it'll snag on the laces and just like fray them prematurely. So I try to avoid that. I try to stick back on correctly. And one cool thing about these is that back in like the mid 2000s, a lot of people, what they did is they would flip the patch upside down. I personally don't do that, but I mean, hey, if you want to, you can. But yeah, man, my pair has stayed super clean, super crisp. Back when I got them, they only had a few like blemishes, which this was definitely a part of it. I don't know how that happened, but it was there when I got them, unfortunately. But you can just like paint over that. And as you can see, my pair it's chipping a little less on the left shoe. But Jordan 4s, especially from like those years, are notorious for paint chipping. Like you literally can't avoid it, really. It's bound to happen. the paint quality that they used back then just wasn't the best, unfortunately. And that's the separation I'm talking about right here. Back when I got them around 3 years ago, they were actually pretty solid. I've worn these maybe like 20 to 25 times at most, but I've definitely put some miles on them for what they are, you know, for how old they are. They're from 2006, you gotta think about that too, you know? And one thing I'd like to point out, which I find super interesting, is that the Lightnings and the Tour Yellows, that came out in 2006 at the same time, they had that waffle piece right here, but the Thunders actually had like the OGs had in the 99 retros, whereas they have like the little triangles right here. I just thought that was interesting how none of the other releases had that, but the Thunders did. And as you can see, those waffle pieces are like kind of like in this smoked gray color, which I really like. It looks really good in person. I don't know how it's going to show up on camera, but one thing I'm really grateful for is that they're not cracking yet. The Durabuck right here is just a little bit, but that really doesn't bother me, to be completely honest. Like, nobody's really going to see that. And speaking of the Durabuck, that's also one of the like lifestyle things that they added, is that instead of being plastic like the OGs and the 99s, well, some of the 99s, the Columbias and the Oreos had leather as well. That was one of the changes. It basically makes the shoe look a little bit more upscale, a little bit more like, I mean, it's no designer shoe, but it definitely makes it look more refined, if you will. Also, you won't have to worry about the heel digging, well, the heel piece digging into your actual heel. That's a problem that a lot of people have had with the Jordan 4. I personally haven't experienced that, but always good to know. It's the super supple leather. It feels really good, and you got that same smoke effect on the Jordan in the back, and you of course got the gray on the tongue, and you got the script right here, the Air Jordan, of course, super iconic. People back then wore their tongues upside down, which is why they originally put that there. And like I mentioned in my Air Revolution videos, the materials were really good back then. That was just like the standard. Like, that leather is super plush, especially on the collar area right here. This is super plush. These are super comfortable on feet, even though they're like basically falling apart on me. They're super comfortable. The midsole though is still firm. That's the thing. It's still firm, very firm. It still passes like the nail test, no problem. It just buffs right out, as you can see. Although the air bubbles are foggy, but in my experiences, the foggy air bubble hasn't really meant anything. Like, I've worn a bunch of shoes with foggy ass air bubbles and nothing happened. Before the video, I just gave these a quick like little like soap bath. I just put a magic eraser on the stars because they were a bit yellowed. And one thing I really like about the releases from back then is that the stars are really like dull. Some people don't like that. Some people actually prefer when they're like three-dimensional, like the new releases, but to me that reminds me more of the OGs, so it's always a win in my book. But as you can see, they're starting to separate right here. The left shoe, or the right shoe, sorry, is a bit worse for whatever reason. As you can see, it's separating a bit more, but the stitching right here on the toe cap is all good. Like right now I have a shoe trim size, so it doesn't look that bad, but it's pretty terrible when I wear them. Like, the shoe literally like lifts up like this. So whenever I do wear them, I try not to wear them too far out, just in case they fall apart, because I'm definitely the type of guy to wear their shoe until it falls apart. Here you got the outsole. Just an overall super nice release. One of my favorites for sure. Definitely one of my crown jewels in my collection. And although the netting is yellowed, I still love these very much. I think it actually adds on to the whole, like, because the thing is, with age, that leather has sort of like taken a, like, it's not completely like coke white, you know what I mean? It sort of has like a slight eggshell look to it. So I'd find it kind of like weird or just like dumb looking if I had like super clear and crisp like netting. But yeah, just a quick overview for you guys. That's pretty much gonna do it for this pair, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the quick little history and like the full look on these, like the detailed look. I hope you guys really enjoyed. I have a few more retros of the past videos coming for you guys, so I hope you guys are gonna tune in. And that's pretty much gonna be it for me. I wish you a very nice rest of your day, and I'll see you when I see you. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Thank you.